Can't take that dick, wait your turn.
Let's take a look at what this might look like using unit circle. So when I have an initial angle of 0 radians, my sine of 0 on the y-coordinate is 0. Okay, so that's where our graph would start. It would start with 0, 0. 0 radians, sine 0 equals 0. Okay, so let me animate this for a few seconds here. Okay, let me pause right there and let you know what's going on here. So what's happened here is I started to rotate my terminal arm around the unit circle. And so the angle in center position is increasing. And as this angle increases, so is my sine ratio. Remember, it started at 0, and it's been climbing from 0 all the way to 0.459. Right? In fact, if you think of the sine ratio as the height of this right triangle, you know that the sine ratio is just going to keep climbing and climbing and climbing and climbing until it reaches an all-time high of 1. So let's see that happen. Okay, and there it is. So it just climbs and climbs and climbs until it reaches an all-time high of 1. And now, if you were to predict what the sine ratio, what's going to happen to the sine ratio, you can see, well, A, it's going to come down. And not only is it going to come down until it hits 0, but once it hits 0, it's going to go into the negatives and keep diminishing. All right, so let's take a look at that happening, right? So sine ratio is decreasing, right? Because the sine of the angle is decreasing. Okay, until we hit pretty much an all-time low of -1. From there, we've only got a quarter turn of the circle left, but it's a more optimistic one, shall we say, because what's happening is we will anticipate that the sine ratio will climb out of the negatives back to 0, right? So it's at an all-time low of -1 right now, and it's going to just keep climbing and climbing and climbing, just as our pink graph is climbing and climbing and climbing until it reaches 0 again. Okay, so now if I were to allow this to continue to graph until, let's say, 4 pi. Let's just see what happens there. Okay, so as I'm rotating around again, it seems like I've heard this story before. I'm just moving around. My sine ratio increases until pi over 2 and then decreases. And this idea just repeats over and over again. Okay, so I'll pause it right there before it hits 4 pi because it resets. Right, and so just by looking at the y-coordinates as we rotate around the unit circle, we can see how the graph of y equals sine x is generated.